This is Ingrid. Welcome back to my channel. Dahil February na ngayon at papalapit na ang araw ng mga puso, ay isi-share ko sa inyo ang love story namin ng asawa kong Canadian. How we met, at ano-ano yung mga struggles na napagdaanan namin.
What's your strategy gonna be? No, you gotta get out and really attack it from all the sides. From the front and everything, just like I did. Just put an effort, you'll love it for the rest of your life. You'll be glad to have this memory.
Okay, bago natin umpisahan ang love story namin, ay magpa-backstory muna tayo ng konti. Si Eric pala, yung hubby ko ngayon, ay second boyfriend ko noon. Ang first boyfriend ko noon ay isang American. I was then 27 years old when we met. Pinuntahan niya ako kaagad sa Pilipinas after we met online. Nagstay kami sa Bohol for 1 week. At doon ay nag-propose siya sa akin at pagkatapos bumalik na doon sa Amerika. At pagdating niya sa Amerika ay nagpa-file siya kaagad ng fiancé visa. So, buong akala ko talaga noon ay magiging kami na. Kasi nga, di ba, nag-file na siya ng fiancé visa. And in fact, I scheduled na ako for interview in the month of June 2012. But then, bigla siyang naglaho at binlock ako sa FB. Grabe, ang sakit pala ng ma-broken hearted kasi first time ko noon, first boyfriend ko siya. So, ginawa ko ang lahat, nagmamakaawa ko, I did everything para makontak ko siya, begging him na please don't cut me off, kahit na magkaibigan lang tayo, okay lang. Huwag lang siya totally mawala sa akin. Grabe, isang buong taon ko talaga yung iniiyakan. Yun bang bigla na lang tutulo ang luha mo na hindi mo alam? I was working in a private school pala that time and I also lived in their dormitory. So, routine ko noon ay classroom, chapel, grotto, dormitory. So, yun lang ang routine ko for 4 years while I was teaching in that school. Bago ako aakyat sa dormitory, pupunta muna ako ng chapel, tapos ng grotto, tapos luluhod ako doon, luluhod ako, iiyak, talking to God and to Mama Mary, pleading them na sana yung ex ko ay babalikan ako. And then 1 year, sa kaka-NBI ko sa Facebook, nalaman ko na meron na pala siyang iba. At nung chinek ko yung time frame ng mga uploads nila, napag-alaman ko na parang dalawa pala kami na binisita niya nung time na yun na binisita niya ako. So, I was like, niluloko lang pala ako ng lalaking to. Ba't ko ba ito iniiyakan? And siguro yung isa yung napili niya kasi the girl was so sexy and just 17 years old while me, I was then 27 at walang kamangmang sa mundo, napaka-inosente at napaka-conservative. So yun, na-dump si Lola. So dahil nahimasmasan nga ako, every time pumupunta ako ng grotto at chapel at nakikipag-usap ako kay Mama Mary at Lord Jesus, hindi na ako nagmamakaawa for Him to come back to my life. But, iba na yung prayers ko. Kasi, before ko ma-met yung first boyfriend ko, palagi akong nagdadasal. Yung palagi kong dinadasal noon, sabi ko, Lord God, please give me. Gusto ko yung lalaking matangkad, guwapo, mapera. Yun yung talagang main qualifications ko sa gusto kong maging boyfriend noon. And then, di ba na broken-hearted ang lola, nahimasmasan, at nag-iba ang perspective sa buhay. So, every time pumupunta ako doon sa chapel at grotto to pray, sabi ko na kay Lord at saka kay Mama Mary, Kahit na hindi gwapo, kahit na hindi matangkad, kahit na hindi mapera, Lord, bigyan mo lang ako ng lalaking totoong magmamahal sa akin, yung tanggap ako, yung understanding at responsable. So, nawala na yung physical appearance na qualities na gusto ko ng isang lalaki. Yung gusto ko na lang yung love ako, understanding at responsable. Yun yung palaging pinipray ko kay God. So, ayun. Pagkatapos pala niya akong binlock sa FB, after 1 month, bumalik ako sa dating site where I met him. Hindi para maghanap ng seryosong relasyon or a boyfriend, but ang gusto ko lang fling-fling kasi gusto ko talaga malibang at makapag-move on man lang kasi sobrang sakit ng nararamdaman ko noon. Na-depressed talaga ako noon. Like, I lost contact with my ex May 2012. And then, July 2012, nag-start ako uli sa dating site. At yun, may mga nakilala akong mga foreigners doon, mga ka-fling-fling. At month of September, nakilala ko si Eric, yung magiging asawa ko ngayon. And when I saw his profile, napawaw ako. I was like, wow, from Canada, my points agad. Kasi honestly, that time, I've been looking for a possible pathway na pwede akong makamigrate dito sa Canada. Kasi nga, ang dami kong mga naririnig na stories about the good opportunities here. So, search ako ng possible employers, pero wala. And then, hanap ng pathways na pwede akong makapunta dito. Ang pwede ko lang ma-applyan na visa is student visa, which was very, very expensive and would cost like $1 million. Wala naman akong ganong halaga. Kaya nung makita kong he's from Canada, I was like, wow, yung sakit ng mga dasal ko. Pero, naglaho yun. Kasi nung binasa ko yung profile text or nakasulat sa profile niya, sabi niya, I'm just looking for a girlfriend whom I can share my blessings with. So yes, girlfriend lang pala yung hanap niya. So I was like, Nick, hindi pala to seryoso. Pero sinindan ko pa rin siya ng smile at friend invitation. So yes, ako yung naunang mag-message sa kanya. Sabi ko, I think we have something in common. Can we be friends? And then, nag-reply siya the following day, and sabi niya sa akin, I'd love to be friends with such a lovely lady. So, every dismissal or every recess time ng mga bata, yung hangout place ko noon ay ang computer lab ng mga teachers kasi libre internet. Pero nung time na yun, hindi lang siya ang kachat ko, mga 3 or 4 yata sila. Sa tuwing nakachat ko siya, lagi niya akong ini-invite ng cam to cam. And I was like, wow, siya ba to? Ang gwapo. Kasi yung picture niya kasi sa dating site, iisa lang at saka parang hindi recent pics. So nagugwapuhan talaga ako sa kanya nung i-invite niya ako ng cam to cam. Pero parang hindi ko siya bet. At saka kapag nag-chat kami, lagi niyang topic ay Philippine history, Philippine culture, at ang dami niyang alam tungkol sa Pilipinas na ako mismo, isang teacher, di ko alam, nakakahiya. So, sa tuwing ini-invite niya ako ng cam to cam, ina-accept ko, pero mini-minimize ko at may iba akong mga kachat. Tapos, nakita ni Teacher Rona, yung katabi kong teacher na nandun sa computer lab din. Hi, Teacher Rona, if you're watching this, thank you for your advice. Sabi niya, how would you be able to know if you really like him if you won't give a chance? So, parang nag-guilty ako. Sabi ko, nga no, teacher pa naman ako. So, magmula nun, kapag nag-uusap na kami, nakikipag-usap na ako ng matino. Hindi ko na siya mini-minimize. Yung conversations namin ay very casual lang. At saka, sabi niya sa akin, yung hanap niya ng mga time na yun ay friendship lang talaga. And he kept on mentioning that he loves Philippine culture and also he has high regards for Filipinos. Tapos one time, I forgot what exactly was the line I told him. Basta ang reply niya sa akin, that's what you got from chatting with those old guys. So, parang na-realize ko, aba, alam pala niya that I was chatting with other guys. Well, I was also chatting with him. Tapos, na-realize ko na, wow, he's cool. He just never mind me talking with other guys online while I was also chatting with him. And that was in the month of October 2012. November 2012, maybe he already started liking me. He invited me for a tourist visa here in Canada. Sabi niya, sagot ko lahat, pumunta ka dito during your Christmas break. Pero sabi ko, I think no way, I won't ever do that. Kasi kung mayroon mang isang unang magbabakasyon or magvi-visit, is ikaw yun kasi ikaw yung guy. Tapos, sabi niya he couldn't kasi busy daw siya. Hanggang sa nag-March at gumraduate ako sa masteral ko. At na-open up ko sa kanya na the reason why I'm taking up masters in SPED is that because my dream is to work abroad or to teach abroad. Yun yung sabi ko sa kanya. So, after kong gumraduate, nag-apply ako online. And in the month of April, tinawagan ako ng agency to come over to Makati to attend the orientation for teaching in the US. So yun, nag-attend ako doon. At napag-alaman ko na ang pwedeng maging destination ko pagdating doon sa US ay Maryland or di kaya Washington DC. At saka, shinare ko yun kay Eric. At ang sabi niya, are you sure? Kasi sa mga states na yun, karamihan, or may marami doong mga blacks, iba ka ma-culture shock daw ako. Sabi ko, I think I'm very sure, I'm 100% sure, kasi nga, it's my dream. Pangarap ko talagang mag-work abroad, and this is a chance. But then, during the orientation, napag-alaman ko na kailangan pala ng 1 million pesos. Yung first 500 pesos, kami muna ng mga applicants ang magbabayad. And then the second 500 pesos, yun na yung linkage na lending company ng agency. So, kailangan ko ng 500 pesos to lodge the application. That time, I had 250,000 pesos savings. Kasi pinaghahandaan ko talaga ang pag-abroad, kaya meron akong ganyang kalaking halaga na savings. But then, kulang pala kasi nga ang kailangan ay 500,000. So, na-open up ko yun kay Eric. Sabi ko, hindi yata talaga para sa akin ito kasi wala akong ganitong halaga. At nag-offer siya. Sabi niya, I am not really 100% into supporting your plans of teaching in the US, but then if that's what you really want, I will help you. That's what he said. So, nagpadala siya sa akin ng 250,000 pesos. But then, after weighing things, I decided na hindi ko na lang itutuloy ang application ko kasi I thought na hindi pa siya yung perfect time. Kasi aside from hindi ako sure na that agency is 100% legit, I was thinking like, what if I'm doon ako sa US and it won't turn out to be what I expected? Paano na lang yung university studies ng sister ko kasi ako lang naman yung nagpapaaral sa kanya sa lahat, tuition fee, allowance, boarding house, projects, at lalo na yung aging parents ko kasi ako lang din naman ang sumusuporta sa kanila. So, I decided na hindi na lang muna sundin yung gusto ko kasi kawawa sila kapag hindi ako suswertehan doon sa US. So, sabi ko kay Eric, for many reasons, hindi na ako tutuloy. Hindi ko na itutuloy yung application ko. I-withdraw mo na lang yung pinapadala mo sa aking pera. So, dahil doon, sabi niya na-amaze daw siya sa akin. Kasi sa dating site daw, marami siyang mga na-encounter, mga nakachat niya na babae, asking him to send them like 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, at never daw siyang pumatol doon, never siyang nagpadala to any of them. Ako daw, hindi daw ako nag-ask, Kaya nag-offer siya ng help kahit na malaking halaga kasi nakita daw niya na I really need it. Tapos, at the end, tinanggihan ko pa daw. So, parang doon ko na-gain yung tiwala niya sa akin. And then, few days after that, Holy Week na. During Holy Week kasi, pagkaalala ko, nung nasa Pilipinas ako, every Holy Week, nagiging melancholic ako. I don't know, umiiyak ako kasi I always felt alone and lonely. Kasi nung nasa dormitory ako, every special occasions like araw ng mga patay, Christmas, New Year, lalo na Holy Week, lagi lang akong nag-iisa sa dormitory kasi yung mga dormmates ko na teachers din would go home to their hometown to spend the occasion with their family. Ako, hindi ako mahilig umuwi sa amin. Yung younger sister ko lang ang pinapauwi ko sa amin every break, like Christmas break and summer. Siya lang ang pinapauwi ko doon sa parents namin. My hometown pala is in Hilongos, and that is 3 hours away from Tacloban, where I used to work and live for 13 years. So, ayun, parang na-sense ni Eric that I was sad when we were chatting. That week, may na-receive yung principal namin na package addressed to me daw, pero walang sender's name. Ang nakalagay lang is that it came from a flower shop in Makati. And when I opened it, it's a bouquet of flowers, chocolates, and a teddy bear. And meron ding message that says, "Cheer up, the most substantial thing is coming." So I was so happy kasi it was my first time to receive a flower or a gift. And though I wasn't really sure whom it's from, what I'm sure about is that it must be from a guy or a suitor. So I was like feeling kilig. So minessage ko siya kaagad, but ilang days muna niya na-replyan. At yun nga, kinonfirm niya that it's from him. At sabi niya, from now on, you can share your problems and worries with me, and don't be sad kasi better things are coming daw. So, ayun, naging regular yung chat namin, pero once in a week lang or sometimes once in 2 weeks pa nga. And doon sa exchanging of messages namin, na-open up ko sa kanya where I came from or my family background at yung mga struggles na napagdaanan ko mula pagkabata hanggang sa maging teacher ako. That I faced them all by myself na walang gumagabay sa akin. Sariling sikap lang lahat. At na-amaze siya sa story ko. Sabi niya, I've never known of anybody my entire life, of a person who has a dark childhood and have gone into a lot of hardships in life all by herself and turned out to be a fine woman like you are. Sabi niya, you're so special. You're 100% a self-made person. And I would love to know you more. At na-open up rin niya sa akin na he's an only child and he's living alone in his own house. But he would hang out oftentimes with his father, who's already 84 years old. And nabanggit din niya sa akin na when they're hanging out, he would oftentimes be mentioning my name. And he said that his father likes me too. Hanggang sa nagyulanda, November 3, 2013. At napabalita nga sa buong mundo ang destruction na dulot nito. Sa awa ng Diyos, safe naman kaming nasa dormitory kasi yung structure ng school is very strong. So, ayun, pagkatapos ng bagyo, nagsidatingan na yung parents or families ng co-teachers ko to bring them home. At saka yung kapatid ko, yung younger sister ko, pinauwi ko rin doon sa amin sa Hilongos. Kasi alam ko that time, our parents were already so worried about us kasi nga napabalitang ang daming patay sa Tacloban. So naiwan ako sa dormitory at nakijoin na lang ako sa ibang evacuee families na empleyado rin ng school. That time, parang ghost town na yung Tacloban. No electricity, no food, no clean water, mabaho na kasi maraming dead bodies around, and no internet. So, wala akong communication with Eric for around 3 weeks. And in the 3rd week of the Super Typhoon aftermath, parang everybody in Tacloban became hopeless, including me. Especially sa pinapasukan kong private school na parang wala ng pag-asang makabangon. So, I decided na pupunta ng Maynila para doon makipagsapalaran at mag-move on with my new life. And then, para na rin makahanap ng paraan to communicate with Eric. So, pagdating ko ng Maynila, I get a chance to get online in a computer shop. And when I checked online, may na-receive ako na message from Eric's dad. It was his first time to reach me out actually. And his message was, Ingrid, we hope you are okay. Eric is doing his best to find you. And the message was sent like 3 days after the Super Typhoon. And when I checked my FB online, I checked Eric's post saying, anybody here who knows where Ingrid is, please let me know. But of course, nobody answered because all of my friends came from the same place and they had no internet connection too. Minessage ko siya kaagad. Sabi ko, I'm in Manila and I'm just okay. I'm staying in a friend's house. Inampo nila ako. At that night, at midnight, he called me. And that's actually our first time talking over the phone. He said that he's very worried about me and just want to know if I'm okay. And he sent me funds para panggastos ko while I'm looking for a job. Hanggang sa nakahanap ako ng trabaho sa Maynila as a call center agent. But then, the job was so tough kasi yung shift ko would be from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. So, walang tulugan. And my workplace was mismo sa ABS-CBN building. At yung inuuwian ko ay minsan isang oras mahigit yung biyahe. Lalo na kapag traffic. So, napakahirap ng setup. So, sabi ko sa kanya, nahihirapan ako sa setup ko ngayon. But, okay lang. No choice. Titigaan ko na lang to. But then, sabi niya, you have a choice. You can go back to Tacloban and I will meet you there. Siya nga pala, the first and the last time nag-message sa akin yung dad niya. That was November 6, 3 days after the Super Typhoon. And then, December 24, Christmas Eve, namatay siya. Sudden death daw. Pero bago daw siya namatay, nasabi daw niya kay Eric na, go visit Ingrid. I can see that she's a nice girl for you. Para bang nanghabilin na sa kanya kasi his dad is Eric's only family left. So, pag wala na, pag papanaw na siya, wala nang family si Eric. So, yun, pagkapanaw ng dad niya, nakapag-desisyon siya to finally meet me in person. Kaya sabi niya, go back to Tacloban and I'll meet you there. Timing din kasi January 8 yata yun, nag-message sa akin yung private school na pinagtatrabahuan ko sa Tacloban. Sabi magre-resume na daw yung classes. So ayun, umuwi ako ng Tacloban at in the month of May, bumisita nga siya sa akin for the first time. So ayun na nga, first meet up. So sinundo ko siya sa airport ng Tacloban. At sabi niya, ang suot daw niya ay gray na polo shirt. At ang suot ko naman that time is yellow na polo shirt din. Kinakabahan na ako kasi may dalawang magkasunod na foreigner wearing gray polo shirt. Sabi ko sa sarili ko, paano kung yung nakakam-to-kam ko dati, hindi pala yun yung tunay na Eric. At ang tunay na Eric ay isa pala sa mga ito. So yun guys, sana may napulot kayong aral sa love story namin. Kaya, kayong mga broken-hearted dyan, huwag kayong mag-alala, huwag kayong mawala ng pag-asa. hindi kayo nagkatuluyan ng ex mo kasi si God ay may inilaang better person for you, just like me. Sa mga dreamers naman dyan, not getting what you really want at that moment doesn't mean you failed or you're not good at it. It's just God's way of telling you to wait for the perfect time. Because when the time is right, God will surely make it happen.